There was an idea. It was called the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The idea was to bring together a group of remarkable superheroes, but not remarkable enough that Marvel had sold them off to Fox or Sony, to see they could come together to become something more. Over 20 years later, that idea has produced over 37 movies and made approximately $1 bajillion dues. But how do these movies stack up against each other? Let's find out which of the MCU movies separate themselves from the pack like a super soldier running into battle, and which of them get lost in a confusing cave, searching hopelessly for a plot to a better movie. I try to keep these videos a comfortable length, so I'll be talking about my top 5 in more detail, but putting the rest of them into batches and giving you an idea for rough placement. If you want a deep dive into why Black Widow is slightly better than Captain Marvel, I'm sure there's a video out there for you, but this ain't it, Chief.
Oh, no, that's not a question I need answered.
You know, I remember when movies had to be worth watching on their own merit rather than being propped up by the franchise around them. Well, it's an old-fashioned notion. Let's punch it. Behold this list of mediocrity and despair. The thing about MCU movies for me is that they're never terrible. None of these movies are offensively bad, but they just lack anything that gets them further up the list. The problem is that while movies like these that aren't attached to a franchise just sort of get shrugs and then forgotten about, these get compared to much better movies and feel worse because of it. Ant-Man and the Wasp is a perfectly serviceable superhero movie, but when there's literally dozens of them, yeah, it's not going to stand a chance. The bottom 5 here are all movies that I never intend to rewatch. Wakanda Forever felt like a movie that searched for a way to tell a story without a protagonist and did not succeed. Quantumania gave me flashbacks to the Star Wars prequels. The Marvels was all over the place tonally, and then Eternals and Brave New World were just a slog. Let's find some better movies. I like to think of this group as a step up, but still flawed. Multiverse of Madness is a disappointing movie with a director straining to make it more interesting. Far From Home is a disappointing movie with Jake Gyllenhaal straining to make it more interesting. I can group Shang-Chi, Ant-Man, and Doctor Strange all together as movies that are doing the origin movie, but attempting something a bit different. The action in Shang-Chi is really solid. Doctor Strange has an actually interesting third act, which saves the rest of the movie for me. And Ant-Man is actually a decent comedy. Still really wish we would have got the Edgar Wright version of it though. I can only defend Iron Man 2 to a point, but Sam Rockwell and that briefcase scene elevate it above anything else we've seen so far. Although the Elon Musk cameo stops it from getting any further.
Thought we wouldn't notice, but we did.
CJ? Yeah? I'm here to talk to you about the Movie Punch Initiative. Is it a pyramid scheme? It's not a pyramid scheme? Hard pass. We're getting better, but we're still not in top 10 territory. God, there are a lot of these movies. Age of Ultron makes some odd decisions, and some of them don't work, but I actually enjoy a lot of this movie, especially the scenes based around Hawkeye. His wife saying, you know, I support your avenging, is peak Joss Whedon dialogue, and I'm a sucker for it. Thor and Black Panther are both solid origin movies that have enough good stuff in them to get them this far, but they both have lackluster third acts and some side characters that I don't care about. No Way Home and Civil War are both movies that I really liked on release, but have suffered a little on rewatch. It's still a joy to watch all of the Spider-Men together, so No Way Home hasn't fallen down my ranking like it has for some people, and I really enjoy the idea of making the original villains good guys again. Civil War's plot to get the heroes to fight each other feels a little contrived, but there's still a lot to love here, and the action is top-notch. Iron Man 3 is a lot higher up my ranking than I've seen for some people, and I don't really understand the hate for this movie. I think people were angry about the Mandarin rug pull, but I've always thought it was a smart way to undercut a racist stereotype character, and I love me some Shane Black dialogue, so I always have fun with this one.
Honestly, I hate working here. They are so weird.
Alright, we're flying now. The movies that are genuinely good, but just didn't quite make my top 5. Deadpool and Wolverine, Thor Ragnarok, and Spider-Man Homecoming are all very different movies, but they're all really great comedies. Whether it's parody, slapstick, or teen, all of these movies work by themselves. And I think you can show any of them to a superhero skeptic and still probably have a good time.
We know each other. He's a friend from work.
The first Iron Man remains high up on my list. I think it has its issues in the third act, but it was a game changer, and honestly I think it still holds up really well. It makes me wonder if any of the MCU would have ever happened if they hadn't cast RDJ in the role. He's so good that you just can't imagine anyone else playing it, I guess you could say he is really good at playing Iron Man. It's easy to forget what a big swing Guardians of the Galaxy was at the time because it worked so well, but it's kind of surprising to this day that a movie about a bunch of silly characters that no one had ever heard of works this well. Turns out that having a talented writer-director with less oversight means for a better movie. Who knew? And this is where everyone gets angry at me because they realise that I put Infinity War 6.
Oh, God.
And look, I get it, I know. If this was me ranking based on what I thought was objectively the best movie, then sure, Infinity War would be first. But this is my personal ranking, and when I try to think of which movies impacted me more or which ones I'd like to rewatch the most, it just couldn't crack my top 5. It's still an amazing movie though. The way it juggles so many characters, has so many great scenes, and that ending is just phenomenal. Although I will say that one scene where Star-Lord just starts punching Thanos annoys me every time. Not even a character played by Chris Pratt is that stupid.
Enough! You are all of you beneath me. I am a god, you dull creature, and I will not be bullied by that. Puny god.
Alright, welcome back. Let's not waste any more time and get straight to the top 5. Hey CJ, who are you? I'm you, but from your review videos. See? Red tie. Nobody gives a shit. Get the hell out. Getting real sick of these cameos. Why does that sound familiar? Anyway, in at number 5 is Guardians 2, and I think this may surprise some people because I often see it rated as the worst of the trilogy, but I just have a blast with this movie. Everything is working at peak efficiency here for me. Storytelling, comedy, emotional beats, action, music. Managing a large amount of characters is something a lot of Marvel movies struggle with, but here we get satisfying backstory for Peter, Drax, and for Gamora and Nebula, all the while getting a development of relationship between Peter and Yondu and Peter and Gamora. Add to that a baby Groot who steals the show, some fantastic action set pieces with cool visuals, and probably the best jokes of any Marvel movie, and you've got yourself a top 5 movie. While Peter's origin story doesn't have as much emotional resonance as Rocket's in 3, the payoff with Yondu is the most I've ever felt something watching a Marvel movie. I only like this thing more as time goes on.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all!
The MCU works best when talented directors are given the room to do their thing and the directors know what they want to achieve. The Russo brothers taking a Captain America fish out of water story and turning it into a 70s spy thriller? Yes, please. I think a lot of writers could have struggled with how to make a movie with a protagonist that is so moral and good in a modern setting, but the team here realised that's exactly what you lean into. How does a character who always does the right thing react in a situation where there is no good choice, only morally grey options?
You had to ask.
Combine all that with excellent action and pacing that's always propulsive, and you have yourself a spy thriller that works as a superhero movie, but also as a standalone thriller. I'm not a comics guy, and I still remember going into this thing with all this hype after watching the trailer and seeing the guy with a cool metal arm and then thinking, wait, was that Bucky? Then, the day I went to see this movie, I had to walk 30 minutes in the pouring rain to my local cinema. By the time I got there, I looked like I'd fallen in a swimming pool. I was utterly miserable, and the movie cheered me up. Although, maybe that's easy to do. I'm a notoriously upbeat person. In at number 3, it's Endgame, and I have to admit, I really struggled to place this one. On the one hand, coming into this after Infinity War, it gave me all of the resolution I was looking for, with some absolutely amazing moments that were essentially payoffs to the entire MCU. Any payoff 20 movies in the making is going to feel incredible. On the other hand, while those moments still hit fairly hard, the rest of the movie has not held up as well, and I feel like the pacing is not nearly as good as it was in Infinity War. Overall, though, I had to rank this movie higher just because of that initial adrenaline rush I got when I first watched this movie, plus the way that it wraps up the MCU to this point. I think they could have stopped here and people would have been satisfied. Oh, this is getting annoying now. Who are you? Oh, me? Oh, don't worry about it. You'll find out in a different episode. If we find out in a different episode, then why are you here now? Because when I turn up, the fans will be able to do the cat meme.
I understood that reference.
What fans? This is probably my most controversial pick of the whole list, but at number 2, it's Captain America: First Avenger. By the time this released, I didn't think movies like this could be made anymore. A protagonist who's not an anti-hero, not conflicted, but morally upstanding to a fault. I think a lot of people consider this to be a boring protagonist, but any person who feels obliged to do the right thing will end up in situations that create conflict. And I love how this movie, set during the Second World War, explores ideas of honour, duty, and self-sacrifice. Chris Evans is perfect casting, playing it completely straight and bringing this earnestness that feels so refreshing. The story doesn't work quite as well as other movies I rated lower, but there's just something so satisfying about watching the ultimate underdog become this juggernaut, ready to take on the evils of the world. While Iron Man was the character that launched the MCU, I feel like Cap is the character that holds everything together, and I feel like a lot of that was down to how well they nailed the character in this movie.
Yes, I think it works.
As much as I love it though, I couldn't give it first place, because there's one movie that I like just a little bit more. And at least with this one, I don't have to apologise for it, because it's damn near flawless. If Iron Man was the movie that created the MCU, The Avengers was the movie that proved that this was going to work. It's so hard to remember now, but at the time, people didn't know if you took characters from multiple movies and combined them into one, whether it would work. And as we saw years later from Justice League, it easily could have failed. Instead, this movie is phenomenal, paced as well as any other movie that came later, with top-tier action that constantly reveals character and develops the relationships between these characters. So much exposition can be jettisoned because we've experienced it in other movies, so instead the movie just gets on with having one excellent set piece after another, grounded by characters that we already love and want to see come together. And when they finally do, it feels like something special. We've become a bit numb to it now, but on rewatch I still get a buzz when the characters are ready to fight together for the first time. The payoff in Endgame is bigger, but here it's more focused, and I don't feel like the movie has suffered at all from what came later. Add to all that Joss Whedon's snappy dialogue and some wonderful performances, and this is a movie that I'm always happy to revisit, and I really don't see any MCU movie ever topping it for me. Wow, we made it all the way through. I really wish they'd stopped after Endgame, not because of the quality drop, but just because ranking this many movies was exhausting. Thanks for watching though. I appreciate that my list probably differs from a lot of people's, but I hope I did a good job of explaining my reasoning. Some of the movies are better or worse than my rank would suggest, but I made my list, I stand by it, and I'm sure everyone will be super nice about it. Just kidding. Give me hell, comment section. Seriously though, if you did enjoy this video, please consider hitting the like button. It really helps us out. Oh, for the love of... What now? Let me guess, you're me from an alternate reality. What? No. Alternate realities are lame. I'm you from the future. I'm here to tell you about Avengers Doomsday. Oh no, is it going to upset my ranking? Is it amazing? Is it terrible? Share with us the secrets from the future. It's... fine. Solid B. What a scoop!